Do you want to achieve amazing marketing results? If you do, you do not want to miss this conversation. There are so many different ways that we can achieve great results with our marketing. I have a few special guests, not just one, but two special guests with me today, and they're going to share their 3-pillar approach for great marketing results. I am Tim Fitzpatrick with Rialto Marketing, where we believe marketing shouldn't be difficult. All you need is the right plan. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. I am super excited to have Shreya, Banerjee, and Paul Counts from Marketing Counts with me today. Shreya, Paul, welcome and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, thanks for having us. Great to be here.
Yes, this is going to be fun. I was telling you guys before we went on air, this is the first time I'm actually have two guests at the same time. This is going to be fun. And it's with two other marketers, so I always enjoy that.
That's great. Yeah, we're looking forward to it too.
So before we jump into this, I want to ask you guys some rapid fire questions. If you guys both want to answer, totally cool. If one of you guys wants to pick one and go the other, I don't care how we do this, but are you guys ready to jump in?
I think so. Are we alternating, Trey?
Oh, we'll figure it out. If I don't answer, I'll be like, Paul, you do it.
That's right. She'll pass to me. Okay, I got it.
Yes, you guys are connected. You know exactly what each other's thinking, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay, so when you're not working, how do you like to spend your time?
I like to watch movies.
Yep. College football. Watching that.
What's your hidden talent?
I like to organize.
Okay.
I can speak pig Latin.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
My dad, who says always say yes.
Smart entrepreneurs have a short pencil, meaning they take a lot of notes.
What's one thing about you that surprises people?
I'm very short, but I have I pack a punch.
How short?
I'm 5 feet.
5 feet. Okay. I think my wife has you beat by like an inch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I coached semi-pro football.
Okay. What does success mean to you?
Success means work-life integration, that I don't have to worry about work or family time. It just happens. That would be amazing.
Yep. Working with
Where's
people
your happy place?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Go ahead. You answer that one.
Oh, no. I'd say, working with the people you love and working with, the clients, the people like that. It's that balance, right? So working with them.
And where's your happy place?
My happy place? Just relaxing in a beach somewhere. It would be amazing.
Disney.
Oh,
Disney. Right on.
Yes.
Now, any park in particular?
Oh, Magic Kingdom. It's hard to beat that one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
With my kids too, or just myself. No, with my kids.
Yeah.
I would go by myself.
Yeah, I know.
What qualities do you value in the people you spend time with?
Integrity and honesty.
Yep. Trust, being able to, good personality too. Like that's key. Sense of humor. That's the right word. Sense of humor. They can't laugh. It's not going to be fun.
I love it. Okay. So I have to ask this before we go on. How did the two of you get connected and start working together?
We met about 4 years ago, almost, at a live event. So, if you ever think that networking is not important, don't think that ever, because networking is so important. Oh, in our line of work, we're in digital marketing. What happens is people think it's all online. So why do you have to go network? Why do you have to go meet? You have to, because you make relationships. Business in general is relationship business, right? Or everything in life is a relationship. So we met at a live event 4 years ago and we connected. We both had things that we were lacking, and together it worked out great.
Cool. Yeah. So you pick up where the other leaves off. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was a solopreneur for many years. So dating back to when I was 13. So I've been doing this 23 years at some level, my own business, whether, marketing for other people, whatever the case is. And so was doing it myself. And then I met Shreya 4 years ago, and I knew like I wanted to get to another level. I achieved a semblance of success by myself. And I was like, I want to get to that next level. I need somebody that knows processes. Insert Shreya. We started talking, found out she has a process-based background. And then the rest was history. Here we are, and now we apply her process-based approach to marketing, which makes it pretty powerful.
You never know where you're going to meet people.
No, you never know. And I mean,
Never.
live events is probably the number one driver of our business, as far as meeting people. I mean, we go through our list of clients and people we worked with and whatever the case is. And any entrepreneur watching this, I mean, if you aren't going to live events, you're missing out big time. Like you
Right.
just,
Or
and
even meetups or some
meetups
place
or-
where you're networking.
yeah,
Yeah.
Chamber of Commerce. I mean,
Right.
it's all there. They're all there. You just have to go out and meet people.
I love it. So tell me more about what you guys are doing at Marketing Counts. What type of clients are you working with? What type of work are you doing?
Yeah, so we do a lot of work with influencers. We work with influencers a lot in the personal development space. We work in the health niche. We've actually worked with people in a variety of niches. We make kind of a joke that all we need is a pediatrician, and we will basically have said that we've worked from beginning of life to end of life.
Right.
We work with funeral homes
We've
too.
done funeral
So-
homes. Yep.
So funeral homes, financial planning, savings. I mean, the list goes on, right? Get your personal
Insurance.
development in the middle of it, insurance.
Yep.
So and that's because we have a process-based approach. We aren't don't have to be stuck in one area. And, but yeah, so we work with a variety of clients, different industries.
Cool. And I know we're going to get into kind of your philosophy and methodology, if you will. And I'm excited to do that because I think we share a lot of the same thoughts on
We
marketing.
do.
Yeah.
But let's talk about first pet peeves. I have plenty of them. What's your biggest pet peeve when it comes to how marketing is taught and implemented?
And I'll get started on this one because my biggest pet peeve is anybody who thinks that they need to go towards digital marketing or start an online presence. The first thing they think of is social media. Social media is not end all be all by any means. It's a piece of it. It's a piece of engagement. And we're going to talk about our process. We call it our FTE process. And what it means is it's a foundation first approach, not a traffic first approach. So our biggest pet peeve is that traffic first mentality of I'm just going to go create a social media profile. I'm going to start driving traffic. I'm going to throw up ads. And it's,
Yeah,
it doesn't
it's
sit
a
well.
blind. I think a lot of the reason it's taught that way is because if you look at in college, right, we're taught to basically go work for a large corporation. It's kind of, I
Right.
mean, in a weird way, right? But a lot of times what they teach you in college marketing classes or even high school classes is really designed to help you be an effective, to do marketing at a large scale with a company with $1 billion budget that really doesn't care if a campaign doesn't work because, hey, we'll just throw more money at it.
Yeah.
Now, a small business owner, they don't have the luxury of just throwing out another 100,000 or another $1 million to a campaign if it doesn't work. So you have to hit your numbers. And it's funny when we've worked with actually some larger organizations, they're shocked that we can actually get a decent conversion on a landing page. And it's like, well, if you actually fixed your foundation first, instead of just throwing traffic at it, you're going to be amazed at the results that happen. And so, and that's, something we've learned is that it's not sexy. It's not attractive to clean up your landing page and make sure that it speaks to your target avatar, to your target audience. If your messaging, if there's a disconnect in messaging, you're not going to get the conversion. And the conversion is really what counts more than anything else. So yeah, pun intended there.
Yeah. So it's really, if I'm hearing you correctly, successful marketing is multiple things, but you have to have the proper sequencing. If your sequencing is out of whack, the tactics are not going to work.
Correct.
And there's a lot of people that they're putting the cart before the horse, right? They're jumping in with both feet, taking action without having the proper foundation for those tactics to actually work.
Right. A lot of people, they jump forward. They, like you said, put the cart in front of the horse, then the cart doesn't move because you go into social media or you go into starting to put ads and then you don't see the conversion. Then you get frustrated and you go, darn it, marketing doesn't work. But in fact, marketing does count.
Yeah.
If you just put the cart behind the horse, right?
Yes.
Then if you have your foundation, you're capturing your leads, you're going to start seeing those results. But people do it opposite.
Yeah. I think, gosh, I have so many pet peeves with this, but one of my biggest pet peeves about marketing is people, they think short-term. And if you
Yes.
want to be successful with marketing, you have to take a long-term approach.
Mhm.
I think somebody was telling me a story the other day. God, I'm trying to remember exactly what the story. They were talking about digging for gold, right? And this guy had this land that he bought, and he was digging for gold. He kept digging, and he stopped because he's like, this
Yes.
isn't working. Sold the land, and the next guy found gold like a foot below where the guy stopped.
Right.
And so it's like so many people have such a short-term approach. They try it and they're like, this isn't working. And they move on to something else. And so they just constantly spin their wheels, and they don't give things enough time to get traction. And honestly, that's probably a lot of marketers' faults, because there's tons of marketers out there who are like, oh yeah, we can generate leads for you tomorrow.
Right.
You know,
a lot
blah,
of
blah,
trend
blah, blah.
trend marketers in a sense, right?
Yeah.
They capitalize
Right.
on the trend. Yeah.
From the trend point of view, we've had several clients who come to us. We serve as fractional CMOs for companies as well. And they come to us and say, well, this is hot. So why are we not, like, should we jump on it? And we're like, yeah, we can. And, you know, they come back and say, why do I have to tell you this? Why can't you come up with this? Right? Like, your job as a CMO should be that. But as a CMO, we're looking at the entire marketing process for your company.
Yeah.
You don't jump from trend to trend to trend. It's okay to try a new trend and go see what's there, but you cannot let go of your basics, of the things that are already working. You can't jump ship and leave everything else behind.
Right.
Because if that new platform crashes, then you have nothing left.
Yeah. It took 3 months for that platform to crash, and then they came back and said, oh yeah, you were right. Well, okay.
As we talk about this, I'm thinking about Clubhouse.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, that was it. Ding, ding.
Who knows? Maybe I'll be totally wrong, but gosh, Clubhouse was so hot in the beginning of the pandemic, and I hear hardly anybody talking about it anymore. And I know some people that spent a lot of time every week on Clubhouse building an audience, and I don't think the audiences are there nearly as much.
No, so if they were smart, they would have moved that audience somewhere else, collected their emails, but most people don't do that. They don't focus on the foundation.
You know what they do for a foundation? Instagram. They'll say that, like, oh, I'm building an audience on Instagram, but you don't own that audience. That's
that's rented. That is a rented marketing channel.
Right. We always say that if you're jumping from trend to trend, you're more doing marketing as a hobby rather than as your work, or as a, you know, not necessarily work, but for a business. You're not building your business. You're doing a hobby. Jump.
One of the things you said, Shreya, was about, hey, it's okay to test some of these trends, but we need to keep doing what we're doing that's already working, right? We don't want to, why would you want to jump away from something that's already working? But that's another conversation. How much do you think is okay for them to test on some of these trends, right? You shouldn't be putting half of your budget into something that you're testing.
Right. No, definitely not. Try it out. Like, go slow. I won't really say like what percentage of budget. Each kind of depends on you and where you are. If you are not set up your foundationally at all, gosh, no, forget the trend. It's a shiny object you're trying to run after. Focus on your foundation first. You shouldn't be spending any time on the other stuff, right?
Yeah.
But if you are getting results from, you're just trying to go to that next level, everything is set perfectly, you're just trying to go to the next level, then yes, invest some percentage, maybe 10, 25% of the budget on the new stuff. But that's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. And it's almost like rolling the dice. It's like playing the lottery in a sense, when you decide to jump away from a foundational principle and into something that you think is hot.
Right.
You're just rolling the dice. So
I mean, especially with the new technologies, like you said, Clubhouse only lasted for a few months.
Yeah. Do you feel like marketing is evolving quickly? I mean, the fundamentals and the foundational elements of it don't change. I know you guys agree with me when I say that.
100%.
But even as the tactics and tricks and tips are changing, do you think that it's evolving that quickly, where if you wait, 90, 120 days before you begin to look at it, that you're going to miss a window?
For a new technology, maybe, because as a new technology is introduced and people are jumping in, you might be one of the people that have the biggest following up there if you started early versus if you're starting late. Yes, maybe. But again, to that point, if you don't have your foundation set and
Yeah.
you're not transferring. So you're not transferring your leads from that new platform to something more stable, like in your email list,
Yeah.
then it's useless. It's
Yeah.
completely useless. We always say that if all these platforms are like highway traffic, everybody is going on there. If people are taking an exit and coming to your house, if you're not getting their information, you're going to miss them.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter, whether you're jumping early, you're jumping late. If you're not capturing their information, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I love that. So
Yep.
let's get into the FTE. You guys touched on this. Explain why the letters FTE will literally transform a business or organization.
Yeah, it's the approach we've taken. It's Shreya comes from Shreya's process-based background. So that's really, Shreya, you can tell them a little bit about your lean. Well, I'll let you say it. I always butcher it. So I'll let you say it.
So I don't have a traditional marketing background. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade. I worked for a corporate career for over 12 years. And I used to go for manufacturing facility to see if there's a breakdown in the process, and if they're not meeting their numbers, why they're not meeting it, and let's fix the processes so they can start meeting the numbers. So I come from a very process-based background. I'm a Lean Six Sigma black belt is what Paul was referring to, that he always butchers. But so we transitioned and met Paul, and we were looking into the marketing, creating this agency. We said, let's take that process approach in marketing. We don't see that very often done, because either agencies are like, oh, Facebook ads hot. Let's just
they jump to what's hot.
Do that. So we take a very process-based marketing approach, and that's where the FTE comes from. It's not full-time employee. F stands for foundation, T stands for traffic, and E stands for engagement. So foundation being your landing page, your website, somehow where you're capturing your information, your customers' information. T stands for traffic, all the different platforms, paid, free, however you want to drive it. You don't have to pick all of them. That's one of the things people think too. There's 30 different social media channels. I need to be on all of them. No, you don't.
Yeah.
And then E being engagement. Engagement's where we teach social media most, not so much on the foundation phase. Engagement is like, okay, now that you have your audience, how are you building that relationship with them?
Yeah.
Follow-ups, social media posts, email follow-ups, right? All of that.
Yeah,
and this is the approach that it doesn't matter which industry you're in. If you follow this, it works. It works in anything.
Yeah, it's powerful. And you should see how uncomfortable most people get when we don't cover social media. Even when we're speaking, presenting, whatever, they get very uncomfortable that social media is not covered till the end, because they're like, under foundation, they think social media is their foundation. Under traffic, they're like, but, well, no, not yet.
Yeah.
It's more of an engagement. It's designed to be an engagement, tool. And at the foundational phase, that's where, we really, really push that capture of the email, capture of the lead is so critical. And that's where people are missing, because there's no money without the follow-up, and businesses miss the chance to do the follow-up when they aren't capturing. I mean, part of our foundation is even setting a pixel correctly, dropping a pixel so that you can retarget them on the right platforms effectively. And what we find, you referenced that marketing's constantly changing. When Facebook had their big algorithm shift, I knew several agency owners that were just throwing their hands in the air and just, so I don't know what I'm going to do. My clients are going to hate me. Our clients were just fine. When Facebook went down for a day, our clients were just fine, because we could still send emails to them. We could still engage with people. Our business wasn't built on sand. It was built on a solid foundation, like we liken FTE really to a house as well, where it's,
I use that all the time.
That foundation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to have that. Yeah. It's so important.
Yeah. When people just jump into the tactics, they're building a house without a foundation, and that's not going to last long term.
No.
So it's incredibly important. One of the other things you touched on, Paul, was just staying in front of people, right? And I can't remember where I saw the statistic, and I think it varies depending on what it is, but anywhere from like 5 to 10% of your market is going to be ready to buy at any given one point in time, something like that. So who cares? We could split hairs on the exact number. The bottom line is a large percentage of your market is not ready to buy at that point in time. So if you're putting a message in front of them that is not going to resonate with them at that point in time, because that need or problem is not there, or it's not great enough, how are you going to stay in front of those people so that when that need does arise, they think of you, right? And you guys keep talking about email. That's why it's so important to get people on your email list.
It is.
Because that's how you're going to nurture and stay in front of people, or
Right.
if you get them to follow you on social media, they may do it. They may see you there, but we have to have ways to continually stay in front. And email, in my opinion, is one of the best ways.
It absolutely is. It's got the highest ROI still. People still check email on their phone. And we always reference that, hey, what is Pinterest, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram? The list goes on. Michael's, Best Buy. I mean, if you go to every major brand, what is the one thing they always ask for? Your email. So that should tell you something right there. But people still want to push back on that and are like, well, text messaging. Well, you can collect texting. That's great. But there's a thing called the FCC that doesn't like text messaging that much. And you're limited on what you can send when you can send it.
There's also text messages blinding, right? Like I get text messages from some of the stores and I go, not really.
Yeah. It's the same thing. I mean, you can argue all day that, yes, some people try to say text messaging is where it's at, but have you ever tried doing that with international phone numbers too? Have fun with that. So it depends on who your market is. And we do collect, texting for ourselves and clients, but you can only use it sparingly. There's certain restrictions you have to have, and you can't just go blasting a text every 10 minutes because you feel like you want to. There's, the FCC doesn't allow it, nor do the texting platforms. So you have to be very careful. Plus it's expensive. It adds up because you're paying per text. You
got to make sure you get the proper opt-in too with text. If people don't opt in and you start sending text messages, you can get in serious trouble.
Oh, you're in big trouble.
But the other thing about text too that people don't look, open rates incredibly high.
Yeah.
But it's super personal. If you start bugging people on text with stuff that's not relevant for them, they are not going to be happy.
No. I mean, it's one of those. It's a tactic that should be used to a certain degree, but some people assume that's the be all end all because in their mind, it's funny because a lot of people when they work with us, right, they go with what's in their mind. So in their mind, I see stuff on social media, and in their mind, they see stuff in text message. So I don't use email. Well, just because you don't use it that much, which is still a lie because we all know you're checking your email for stuff.
Yeah.
So don't tell me you don't use email, but that's where, that disconnect is. And, the other part of staying in front of them that we didn't even reference is even like putting a pixel, even if you're not going to run an ad at that point, but drop a Google pixel, use ad roll, which will get you across, banner ads on other websites so what we love to do is drive traffic from sources like, let's say it's our own email list, or drive traffic from Google ads to a landing page, or SEO, search engine optimization, where you get the traffic where people are actually searching. And that's when you drop that pixel, because then when you run an ad, they've already expressed enough interest to come to your website. That's why getting targeted traffic so good. And we make a joke about, well, would you rather have people stumble across your business, which is, if you had a physical business, would you rather somebody stumble into your store or across your store? Typically, if they're stumbling into your store, there's another reason. But that's what's happening on social media. They're stumbling into your store. Whereas on Google and Bing and on, actual YouTube, places like that, they're more likely to actually be seeking you out. So they're seeking, not stumbling. And we'd rather work with people that are seeking us than stumbling across us.
They're problem-solving platforms, right?
Right.
People go there to solve their problems. When I have a problem, I go to Google, I go to YouTube, I go to Pinterest. I want to learn something. If there's a solution out there, I want to know about it because I want to buy it.
Yeah.
Right.
Versus Facebook, I don't go there saying, let's see what ads I get targeted for today.
Yeah. There's there's high buying intent with things like Google, right? You can target very specific keywords, whereas Facebook, people don't necessarily go on Facebook to buy something, right? They're there socially, and we're in most cases, we're just interrupting what they're doing, right?
Right. No, you're absolutely right. So you could run it strategically. You can still run Facebook ads, but run a Google ad first and pixel them.
Yeah.
And then retarget them on Facebook. That way, your traffic that you're getting is very, very targeted.
Yeah.
And you're not wasting your marketing dollars either, running a very high, Facebook ad budget.
Yeah. Right. So with for those that don't know, because we're talking about retargeting, with retargeting, you have captured some information that they have visited something specific, whether it's a specific page on your website or your homepage. They visited something and you are taking that information and then you are sending another ad to them at some other place. It's just like I look for a car and all of a sudden I'm seeing Chevy ads at every,
Mhm.
every website that I visit. When you guys retarget, is there a specific period of time that you retarget people for? Like, or is this, because I think some people think like, oh yeah, you don't typically retarget ad nauseum for an
Right.
extended period of time. Does that window that you retarget vary based on the type of clients that you're working with, or is that fairly fixed? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it varies by the client, and it also varies by the action that you want them to take. So typically, 90 days at the most. That would be on more on the high end, right? Because they're going to forget about the offer.
Yeah.
But we do target beyond that because of the fact that if you had like an e-commerce store and you want to drive them back, it doesn't mean you're going to retarget them with the similar offer or the same product or whatever the case is. Because sometimes you'll go to e-commerce store and you see that same product. You don't want to retarget that more than 7 days or so. Because if you target that way too long, it's, they're going to be like, wait, I moved past that.
I already bought
Roomba
that.
vacuum. I already bought that. Right. But you do know they're interested in, electronics for the home, right? If they bought a Roomba vacuum, let's just say, or something like that, just throwing that out as an example. So, they're interested in home electronics. So therefore, you could target them other home electronics categories down the road, right? And that's kind of the approach we take. It's more, you don't target for that same product, but you do still target them because that's a valuable data. That's almost like it's the best thing you can get next to an email list where you don't have their direct info, but at least you know what they want. Because if they're shopping home electronics, then cool, you've got another widget that you could put in front of them, or a whole category, or a guide about the top 10 things you should do before you buy your next widget or whatever the case is.
And that doesn't happen very often at all. I don't see it. The reason Roomba came up because I bought it 2 weeks ago, and
so
I still am getting.
Half our meetings are her talking about setting up a Roomba.
My Roomba is so amazing. So I'm still getting targeted for Roombas, even though I bought it 2 weeks ago. And even big companies don't do that.
Talk about wasted ad dollars, right?
Right. It's a complete waste because they have unlimited ad budget. But you as a small business, if you're smart about it, do target that, because I don't see many people do that.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, because you'll get charged, right? This is what people don't understand. Even if you're running retargeting ads, you're still going to get charged. You're actually going to get charged for every impression on some of those platforms, right? If you're running some retargeting.
Yeah, so it's not, with retargeting, it's most of the time it's not cost per click, it's cost per impression.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. In a lot of cases. And so you're going to end up spending money unnecessarily if you're running those retargeting, especially on if you're doing a Facebook retargeting or Google retargeting or something. And so why are you throwing impressions to somebody that already purchased? And that's just like throwing,
think outside the box. Because right now, if they show me the Roomba bags extra parts, I would much rather buy that rather than the Roomba itself, right? So think outside the box.
Yeah, right. I was going to ask you that. So in this example of e-commerce, it's you buy a Roomba. Now, what else are you going to need?
Right.
And if they retarget you with that kind of stuff, right? There's who knows, maybe you would have bought that stuff when you originally bought it, but maybe not. You didn't know what you didn't know. And now that you got your Roomba, you're like, oh my God, I need this, this, and that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's where you're there, right? When they need that, because they already have the product and instead of just blowing money. And the thing is, success in advertising, this sounds really funny to say, but success in marketing is not correlated to what you're spending. And it's funny to even say this because we've had people that have actually questioned what we do for them because we reduced their ad spend tremendously by 90% in one case. They were literally throwing money. And we were questioned, what are you doing? Because you're not spending enough on ads. And it was just like, are you kidding me right now? Right? Like we literally saved you a huge amount of money and we actually got you more leads and more profitability, but you're still calling us into question because you looked at the ad spend. It's shocking, but that's what people are trained to think because people that don't understand true marketing, the way all the three of us do here and that foundation-based approach, they view it as marketing is just throwing ad dollars at something or posting on social media. And that's
Right.
like, and it's ironic, but that's
Yeah.
the logic that's out there, which is
Right.
crazy.
Now, true marketing, if you look at it that, it shouldn't be all ads driven. It should be
No.
all encompassing with the
Yes.
foundation, with email, with everything. So a lot of times when you think that, oh, my ad budget's less, what is marketing doing? Look at the other stuff that was not being used before. It is being used now,
Right.
Yeah.
right? And you should be using it, because if you're not, you're just leaving money on the table.
Well, yeah, and some of this takes time. That's the thing. It
Right.
Yeah.
takes a lot of time. And one great example, we had somebody that striving for one of the most competitive phrases in the market. I mean, the competition's Mayo Clinic, Harvard, John Hopkins University.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how hard that would be to rank. After 18 months, right? All of a sudden, it goes from nowhere to first page of Google, and they literally go from 3,000 clicks a month for this keyword to over 30,000 keyword clicks a month, and just in the span of in that span of 18 months. But it was consistent effort, and finally, bam. But it's like that referencing where the guy didn't want to strike gold and walked away early.
Yeah.
That happens a lot. And people go, SEO sucks. It doesn't work. Move on to the next tactic.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that. And what we also love too is another pet peeve, right? Doing consulting. We always joke. We're like, hey, watch because we have no problem firing clients. It's something we've done. If we aren't in alignment with them, or, we will go our separate ways. And we always make jokes. We're like, well, just wait when, the new marketing company they'll get the benefit of what we just did for the last 6,
Right.
7, 8 months.
Yeah.
And then they're going to come in and go, "Ooh, look at this great ranking in SEO,"
Yeah, we're
But
doing a
that's
great
the
job
thing.
for you.
Yeah, we're doing a great job for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. Shreya, you mentioned, about just look, paid ads are a good strategy, and I think they belong in in a larger plan. But the way I've always looked at paid ads is it's a way to generate quicker results while you're
Mhm.
investing in things that are going to take longer
Right.
term.
Right.
But if your business is based off of paid ads to generate leads, you're like a drug addict,
Yeah.
Right.
and what happens when the dealer you can't find any dealers anymore,
Wow, that's a great analogy.
right? Because stuff changes, right?
Right.
This is not a set it and forget it thing.
No.
It's always evolving. And if things change, Paul, before we jumped on, you were talking about, the whole Facebook algorithm change.
Right.
Like that threw a lot of people into a tailspin.
It did.
And that is a bad place to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Everything changes. Everything.
Yeah.
So people a lot of time push back on SEO is, well, we have no control over it. Google can change its algorithm at any time. Like you just said, so can ad platforms. So can
Right.
Facebook. So can, there's nothing guaranteed in life. Everything changes.
Yeah.
So do a mixture of both. And organic is very, very important for your business if you want it to continue to grow. You can't just have it.
So important. It's
Yeah.
the
Can't
best
have it
converting
around.
traffic. I mean, we actually can see with, an e-commerce client we work with, number one best converting traffic after their email. So email's number one, but number one after the email is SEO organic. And then paid ads come in around a fraction of what SEO is. And as far as conversions go, even Google ads, which we love Google ads, but Google ads still outperforms Facebook ads. But that's because really, like we talked about, Google, Bing, when you advertise on those platforms, they're seeking you. They're stumbling into you on the other platforms. If you get nothing else out of this call, at least think of those things.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that. It's a super important distinction.
It is.
Right. They're seeking you rather than, bumping into it.
Right.
Super, super important. Now, I want to finish by talking about mindset, and I have a feeling where this is going. But how can your mindset influence your marketing results and, make it better?
Yeah, it's very important because mindset, just like with anything in life, right? What we see from our students and our clients is we work so hard on a campaign. It doesn't work the first day. Hearts are broken, right? And they're like, it doesn't work. Marketing doesn't work. La, la, la. You have to be consistent with whatever you do. If it doesn't work, no worries, make tweaks, make those conversion, you have to make tweaks. You have to,
Right.
like, Paul is expert at
Yes.
fixing things. Like, let's get the conversion up, right? Doesn't matter if it didn't convert the first time. Let's make it better. You have to have that mindset. If you can't do that, then you're not going to succeed in anything in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forget marketing, but you have to have that in marketing too, because any results is not custom. We live in that generation. I call it the TikTok generation, right? Like, everything's fast, super
Yeah.
fast. Now.
I've got it right now.
Yep.
Right now, it's not the reality. That's not real life. That's
No,
not
it's-
marketing. You can't have everything right now. Even if you run ads, which is faster traffic than organic traffic, just doesn't mean that your ad's going to convert at the first go.
No.
Doesn't mean that you have
Yes.
the right keywords at the first go. You might have to have 25 different iterations before you finally hit that jackpot and go, wow, yes, this is it. Now I'm going to scale. So
Yeah.
if you give up on the first go, you're done.
And even if you do well on your first day, just think of how much better you could do if you kept at it. A lot of times, and it's a combo where they just give up too early. They just give up too early, whether it works or doesn't. And at that point, it's not even strategic. It's just because nobody has a glass ball. Nobody knows how their audience is going to resonate with the message. And you hope that it's gonna hit. I can guarantee you during the Super Bowl ads, not every one of those ads sticks. Some of them do really well. Some of them do amazing. In fact, we did an overview of the Coinbase one. That was incredible. With the dancing thing that they used everything to a T that we just talked about here. Everything from, they hooked your interest, but then when they got the traffic, they had a landing page with an opt-in, captured your email, they got you engaged in the app. I mean, it was incredible. It was super well done because they actually did the right steps, which is ironic because very few larger companies do that. They just blast their name out there. Right. But it's taking your ball and going home way too early. That's, the biggest, that's where you've got to have that mindset that I'm going to stick this out and make it work. We just did our own offer, with another organization, and, it wasn't converting, but we kept at it, and we finally got it 6 times the conversion rate. It's like 600% increase in conversion rate. So it went from a webinar that converted at 5% to 30% because we stuck with it. Had we just been satisfied with 5%, which a lot of people are on a webinar, they're like, 5%, but we were like, nope, we can keep tweaking this offer, make it stronger. And so we didn't give up. And that happens a lot though. It happens a lot with people where they just, this converted okay, or like Shreya said, marketing sucks. Here we go again. It's okay. A bad mindset to have.
It is. It's okay though to complain and whine a little bit. We do it all the time. Like, I'm like, why us? Why can't we just have things easy? We do that all the time. But then move on. You have to continuously improve.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm hearing you say. We need to be open-minded. We need to take a long-term approach and be invested in this. And even people like the 3 of us that are doing this day in, day out, we're testing all the time. What we can take frameworks, right, and foundations that we know work, but there's always little nuances. There's changes in the market. We are always testing and making incremental improvements. And it's those incremental improvements that give you exponential returns in your results.
Exactly. Right. Very well put.
Okay. Yep. I knew we were going to think the same on this kind of stuff.
Great, right? Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe I need to have a contrarian on here so we can get into a little bit of a debate on
it.
You've got a list of them. If you'd like.
We got to do this again.
I was going to say, but it's I love hearing other people's views. We share a lot of the same thoughts, but that we think about them in slightly different ways, but the end result is the same.
Right.
And there's too many. I think there's too many people that their expectations of marketing are unrealistic, and because of that, they're never happy.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
it's our expectations that get in the way.
Right.
So I love it. Guys, this has been a fantastic conversation. I've really enjoyed this. Any last minute thoughts you want to leave us with today?
Be consistent. Say that. You can't say that enough. Be consistent. Don't care about the results. I mean, yes, care about the results, but just be consistent.
Right. Yeah, there's no better word than that. I mean,
Right.
consistency counts. It really does. I mean, that's what we preach it, harp on it. It's doing this, being consistent and being okay when it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
That's, we've already hit on it, but it's not always going to be perfect. It's marketing, and you're never going to convert it 100%. So that's okay. It's
And marketing does
there's
count.
there's
Yeah.
no offer. It does.
That's right.
It does. Yeah.
So if people love, what you've been talking about with your FTE framework, where can they learn more about you guys?
Yeah, you can just go to marketingcounts.com, and check us out. And we'd be happy to connect with you. We have a free offer there. People can download on 26 A to Z of email marketing, 26 tips for email marketing.
Cool. I love it. So marketingcounts.com. It's spelled exactly how it sounds.
Yes.
So go to marketingcounts.com. Shreya, Paul, thank you so much for taking the time. I've enjoyed this conversation. And
Thank you.
for those that are watching, listening, appreciate you. If you're struggling with your marketing, we've certainly talked about a lot of things, but if you're not quite sure what that next right step is to get you where you want to go, you can always hop on over to our website, rialtomarketing.com. That's RIALTO marketing.com. Click on the Get a Free Consult button. I'll be happy to chat with you and give you some clarity so you can move forward with confidence. Thanks so much. Till next time. Take care.